Hey folks, now if you like buying steelbooks and other physical media, you might want to buy them pretty quickly because today we're going to talk about a few more nails in the coffin of physical media. Before we get started, if you're into tech, hi-fi, or movies, be sure to push the subscribe button for new weekly videos. What I'm holding in my hands here is a House of the Dragon steelbook. And, this might become a collector's edition, not because House of the Dragon is awesome. I mean, it is pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But because this is a steelbook from a certain company, right? Yeah, and you probably know what company this is from. And we're going to talk about that last in this video. But this whole video is dedicated to talking about a few more nails that are in the coffin of physical media. And I'm talking particularly optical disc for watching movies, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Blu-ray. And we're going to talk about three different companies: Best Buy, Disney, and Sony. Now, if you remember, not too long ago, I released a video talking about the death of 4K disc, and a lot of people panned the video, and they were like, no way, this will never happen. Of course, there was an equal number of people saying, oh, it died a long time ago. Well, this is just more fuel for the fire that times are a-changing. And if you don't believe they're changing, well, just follow along, because I'm going to step through the ways that they're changing, and some of these are significant. The first item up for bids is some news from August. And this was the thunder strike of revelation that Disney was no longer going to distribute discs in Australia and New Zealand, for that matter. And this is a pretty big deal, right? Because that's not a necessarily huge market, but it's not a small one either. Now, this is in addition to them already halting distribution in parts of Latin America and Asia. So Disney's like, no mas, right? Now, a lot of people had talked about some comments that have been made by, I guess, maybe the CEO of Disney around disc, but ultimately, at the end of all that conversation, it was made clear that their strategy is streaming, right? Disney Plus is the way forward. Physical disc is going to continue to sunset, and as we can see, distribution is now getting smaller and smaller. It's being scaled back globally, and that's a big deal, because when these companies lose confidence that the disc is a moneymaker for them and that they can make this money somewhere else, well, they're going to chase the money, right? And I think this is another nail in the coffin. Now, is this, the death nail? No, but like I said, it's one more piece of information that adds up to a story that doesn't look really, really good for physical media. These next two items are all about Sony, and they're all bad for physical media. The first, and this, on the surface of things, doesn't look to be, a significant item, but I think it's a very telling item. And, I've discussed this online with folks, and, everybody's like, oh, they're just trying to save money. Well, I think it's more than that, right? So Sony's new PS5s are going to be released in the digital version, right, which means no disc, but the big version is going to have a removable disc, meaning that it's an add-on. Now, this is important because if you roll the clock back, you can kind of look at the evolution of the PS5 with discs embedded, right? At the beginning of time, the optical disc was a really big deal because Blu-ray players were super expensive at that point, and you could get this game system and then you could play your discs in it. And it was a feature that was very desirable. Now, fast forward to today, where you have two versions of the PS5, and one doesn't have a disc at all, and the other has an optional disc that you don't even have to add. This shows that Sony has reacted to the market because it's not a feature that is a must-have, and it is slowly over time being phased out. Now, when the PS6 comes out, will there even be a version with a included disc optical drive at all? I don't think so. My guess is that this is setting up a future where if you want a drive, it's an add-on because it's not important enough to include in the product all the time. And who knows, maybe at that point they're going to say we're done with disk. But I think this is a very important piece of information, especially when you consider this next item. There's a service called Sony Picture Core, which was called Bravia Core before, and this is Sony's streaming service, right? There's nothing in and of itself super crazy about that, right? It's not super interesting. However, what is interesting is that this is a much higher bit rate than other streaming services, right? So it's, I don't know, 4x the bit rate of what you get off of Netflix or something like that. I'm sure there's a metric out there, but it's a lot more data coming across the line, and more data means a better image and better sound. Now, does this get us on parity with watching something on disc? No, but it gets us close enough that the vast majority of people will never be able to tell the difference. It won't matter to them at all. They can stream on this service and they will be just as happy as they would be with disc. And this isn't the general masses that I'm talking about either. This is people that are into things, right? Now, the enthusiast, right, they're going to want disc, they're going to want Kaleidoscape, they're going to want that stuff, right? But everyone up into that point, even including like the prosumer, this is going to be good enough. And when you put together the concept of Sony saying, hey, look, we're going to be able to stream this stuff out at super high quality, and we're no longer going to include discs in one of our flagship products, well, I think that tells a compelling story that the needle is continuing to swing from you got to have some physical media to maybe not so much. This last piece is significant, and that's what's going to make this a collector's item and hopefully me rich for owning it. And that's Best Buy is done with physical media. So around Q1 2024, not only are they going to stop selling physical media in stores, they're also going to stop selling it online. Yeah, it's gone. No more steelbooks. No more Best Buy editions. It's gone. What does that mean for the market? Well, I guess maybe the boutiques are going to pick up some more business, and maybe stuff shifts over to Walmart. Maybe somebody else does the special, who knows? But it definitely shows that Best Buy has lost confidence that physical disc is a moneymaker for them. It blows my mind, right? But, Netflix, they just stopped. And that, I should have covered that too. Netflix is no longer doing rentals. That's all gone. People got to keep their last few rentals. Best Buy is no longer going to sell physical media at all. Disney is no longer going to distribute in Australia and parts of Latin America and Asia. It seems like there is a tidal wave of change going on. What does the future look like? So if you're a new collector, do you really want to get started collecting physical disc right now? I don't know. I would say you'd want to think about it. If you're a longtime collector, make sure that you know where your boutique sellers are and who to order from, and figure out how to play their games of shenanigans where they release, just a super limited print run and it gets all bought up by bots and then it's resold on the secondary market at a huge markup. And that's always a fun ecosystem to live in. All right. So that's the new news around physical media in the middle toward the end of 2023 in October. I'll be back again here pretty soon with a new update with new news later, and we'll see what happens. With that, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.